Hey, hello guys. This is Fede here again, back with another video, and today we're doing a double feature here in the channel. Um, First of all, I do want to say that I cannot believe that I got to 50 subscribers yesterday, and yeah, it's insane, man. I'm just doing this for fun once in a while, right? A video or two. But yeah, it's been fun hanging out with you guys at the Discord as well. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the video. So this is going to be a wrap up for last month and my TBR for March, which I'm going to be participating in March of the Mammoths, which is like you just read big books in March, and I do have a couple of those here, but I'm going to show you those books in a moment. So let's just go ahead and get into the stats for last month. And I do need my glasses here because I'm looking at the computer, and I needed to see the numbers. I'm fucking blind, so yeah. So all right, let's just go ahead and start with this. I'm using for the data. I'm using the website created by class. My man, the website is incredible. It's pretty easy to use, and that's basically what I'm using to track the my reading. Now I have here that last month I read a total of 3,034 pages. I finished a total of 8 books. The longest book that I read was The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. With that book is 1,312 pages long, and the shortest book that I read is 145 pages, which is Breve Tratado del Corazón by Ana Clavel. It's a Spanish writer. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And what other cool data can I give you here? All right, so the genres that I read were philosophy, science fiction, and literary fiction. And all right, let's just go ahead and talk about the books, man. So the first book that I finished last month was The Three Body Problem. Now I do have oh sorry, I've moved the table. I do have a video here in the channel talking about um, the uh, the book and what I thought about it, which that video is getting more views than usual for me. I usually get like 40, 50 views, and it's up to almost 200 views, that one. Maybe because of the Netflix show, right? But yeah, that book I have here that I gave 4 stars. It was really good. It's a slow burn, and yeah, science fiction. Go ahead and watch the video. You want to know my thoughts about that. Then I read Notes from the Underground by Dostoevsky, which, you know, I read Dostoevsky before. I read his Nights, which is compiled in the book that I have as well. I have it downstairs. I don't have it here in my room, but the book that I have has White Nights, Notes from Underground, and some short stories. So it's, but yeah. Um, Now, Notes from the Underground, man. I fucking love that book. I have here that I gave it um, 5 stars, obviously. I mean, and the main reason that why I wanted to read Notes from Underground is because Martin Scorsese, one of the great living directors, said that that book was like a big inspiration for him to write and direct Taxi Driver. Well, he didn't write Taxi Driver. He that was written by Paul Schrader, but Paul also loved Notes from Underground, and yeah, it's just a depressing book, man. I love those, like Notes from Underground, Nausea by Jean Paul Sartre, or Sartre, and The Stranger by Camus. So yeah, all of those books. I come to find out that recently, this past few years, I really like books about male loneliness and just the experience of the male loneliness humans, right? How do they handle that loneliness? What do they do with their life? And they're usually despicable, horrible human beings that, in a way, you can't understand them, right? Because they're humans and they're having a human experience. So, Notes from Underground, man, I fucking love that book. I get that it's not for everyone. It's depressing, and I get it. But I love that book, man. Then I finished The Count of Monte Cristo, which took me, look at here, it took me almost 20 days to finish that book. And I was reading it like crazy. I was reading like I don't know, 70, sorry, what? Yeah, 70 or 80 pages a day. And it's a big fucking. I read the Penguins Classics edition, and yeah, it's a big book, man. But I fucking love that book as well. I give it, of course, 5 stars here. And what I loved about the book was, of course, the story about revenge and the classic story about getting what you're owed. But more than that, I mean, this is a classic, a super classic. And it was, for me, really easy to get into, man. I mean, like the writing, everything was super easy to digest it, right? Because last month, I mean, sorry, January, I read War and Peace by Tolstoy, which the Count of Monte Cristo is actually longer than the War and Peace from the editions that I have. The War and Peace edition that I have is like 1,200 pages, a little bit more than that, and the Count is 1,300. So, but yeah, just in the writing, man. The Count of Monte Cristo was super easy to get into, and War and Peace gave me some trouble. I had to pull up a PowerPoint online just to describe some chapters that I didn't get that well. And I was actually reading that in Spanish, so my main language, and still I was having issues. And the Count, I read it in English, and like anything, like a piece of cake, man. It was great. It was great if you want to read a classic, and if you don't want to get like your brain exhausted, just fucking read the Count of Monte Cristo, man. Next, I want to read from him. I want to read the Three Musketeers, and I've heard good things about that. Then after that, I finished on that same day. Actually, the same day I finished the Count, I finished Queen Amid Ashes, which is the first. All right, how do I put this? This is in the Sun Eater series, right? So this is the first novel you need to read after reading the second book of the main series, Howling Dark. So Queen Amid Ashes, it's just a story about Hadrian Marlowe that happens right after book 2 finishes. So he's already okay. I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, it's just a good fun story, man. About Hadrian going to this planet where the Cielcin are making a fucking destroying everything, and he has to fix that situation. So yeah, great book. I gave that 4 stars for a short story. Well, it's not a short story; it's more like a novella, really. But it's great. Then I read another classic, philosophy classic, The Discourse of the Method by René Descartes. And obviously, I read this before back when I was in university. I'm a historian, so I read everything from Descartes to Kant to Hegel to Marx to Sartre, Smith, Heidegger, whatever. I read it. I read all of that, and for me, if you don't want to forget the philosophy of those thinkers, you need to read the books from like every 2 3 years, man, or 5 years, whatever. But Yeah, it's just a way of me of not forgetting what I know already about their philosophy. And it's a quick read, man. It's like 70 pages. What? The discourse is like 70 pages. But yeah, it's a classic cogito ergo sum. So I bet you know that already. And then I finished Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 1. This one. And here we have a lot of stories. I don't know how many, like 7, 8. And they're good. They're good. I gave this book 4 stars as well. And what I liked about this book is that, for example, in Queen Amid Ashes, the focus of the story is still Hadrian, right? And that's great on the main books. But if I'm reading short stories, side novels, or whatever, I don't want them to be about Hadrian because the main series of books is about Hadrian. So a good surprise for me was that these short stories only have one story about Hadrian, like the main protagonist, but the other ones are just regular people. But yeah, those were great. I can go here story by story, but read it if you're into the Sun Eater. Read the short stories, man. I mean, they're pretty short, and they really add to the lore here. Then I read Delirium Tremens by Ignacio Solares, and I finished this on the 25th. And yeah, this is a book. I mean, like the title says, about the delirium tremens symptoms. And what I liked about this book is that he doesn't come to the subject matter, alcoholism, with just judgmental American way of seeing alcoholism. Uh, so this man, mm, he went to different people because there's a lot of mythos and beliefs around delirium tremens. Some people believe that once you're in that state, once you're hallucinating, you're connecting either with the devil or with God. And more often than not, it's the devil. Like people see a lot of hallucinations regarding Satan and the Inferno and whatever. And yeah, here in this book, the author like puts you into perspective because these are real interviews that he does. And some people are aware that, man, I'm fucking up with my life. I gotta stop fucking drinking so much. And some other people, like I said, see it as a connection, as something that you should be doing if you want to ascend to some other plane and see what's out there in the fourth fucking dimension or something, right? So it's very entertaining, this book. It's, I mean, if you have a drinking problem, I don't know, man. I don't really have a drinking problem, so I really don't know what to say about that. But this book is great. I really like the book. I gave it 4 stars. And my last book was the shortest one of the month, which I finished this book yesterday, actually. Um, and it is Breve Tratado del Corazón, which is translated to A Brief Treaty of the Heart. And yeah, the writer here talks about human connections and how other societies have seen the like the human heart and what it represents, and how science sees the heart, and how religion sees it, and how old fucking cultures see the heart, and what it represents in the mythos of Catholicism. So yeah, I mean, when I read the synopsis, it attracted me. It intrigued me. But once I was reading it, there's really not much to it. It really doesn't. She really doesn't have like a lot of analysis, to be honest. But she is a good writer. I mean, besides this one from her, I read Lolita Country, Territorio Lolita, which she talks about. She analyzes the Lolita by Nabokov, and it's a great book. I really recommend that one. Not this one, Brief Treaty of the Heart. But yeah, that was my last book of the month. It was a very productive month. How many books did I read? 8, I said, right? So I read 8 books. I'm pretty happy about that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this next month, which I guess we're gonna pass to the TBR for March now. All right, so the TBR for March, it's not going to be that long because of what I said that I'm going to participate in the March of the Mammoths thingy. So I only have one small book, and it's around. Let me check here. It's almost 200 pages, which is by a writer that I fucking love. Every book that I read by him is great, and it's Ray Loriga, and it's Sábado Domingo, which is Saturday Sunday, the title. And I really know nothing about this book. That's how I like to read his books. Um, yeah, I know nothing about it, but I know that it's going to be good. So, yeah, Sábado Domingo for March. And then now for the tomes. So I was reading online, and what classifies a tome, if you want to participate in March of the Tomes, it's that you got to read a book that's above 800 or 900 pages, I believe. So, for example, this book that I have here is 906 pages, so just about that. And it is A Demon in White by good old Christopher Rocchio. It's time that I read the third book. I already read the short stories, so I can go ahead and dive right into this. And yeah, it has 900 pages, and for what I've heard, is that this is the best one so far, right? And but that really varies. If you ask someone, he's going to tell you Demon in White. If you ask someone else, they're going to give you Empire of Silence, or the fourth one, which I heard is really dark, which got me intrigued. So, all right, the next tome is, of course, Oathbringer by good old Brandon Sando, the Sandman. So, yeah, the third book in the Stormlight archive. For this one, and here's a contrast, because for the Sun Eater, I'm reading everything I can, like every short story and everything. But for Stormlight, I'm not reading any like novellas in between chapters or whatever. I mean, even when I'm reading the books, I'm not really reading the interludes, because I really don't give a fuck about the Cosmere. I just want to get this story here done. And yeah, whenever I'm reading one of these books, I just read a quick recap of the interludes whenever I get to them. I look them up online, and that way I can continue with the main story right away. So yeah, sometimes, I mean, I don't know how it is with you people, but a lot of people would consider that blasphemous, and I really don't care. But yeah, Outbringer, man, is going up this month as well. And the last tome that I have here is a book that I've been wanting to read for like a couple of years now. And here's the funny thing, I really don't know anything about this book. A booktuber that I really like, which I really can't remember the name, recommended this book. And when I was in Tucson, I was in Tucson, I don't know, last month. I went to visit my family there, and I saw this in a used bookstore, and I had to grab it, man. Is the books? No. Yeah, The Books of Jacob by Olga, and that's the name. So I really don't know anything about this book. I do know that it is the winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature, though. And I don't know, I just think that I'm going to love this book for some reason, man. And of course, it deals with religion. And look at this was great for me to see. Oh, look at this spine, man. I didn't see that. Books of Jacob. And it actually starts with the last page. So the first page of the book is page, just give me a moment here. Okay, so for what I'm looking at here is the book is going to happen in Europe and Russia, something like that. All right, but the first page of the book is actually the last page in numerals. So the first page is page 964. I believe that's, for what I was reading, I believe that's like a Jewish thing to do that. So the last page of the book is page number 1. And yeah, I don't want to know what the book's about until I start reading it, right? And yeah, those are my tomes for the month. I really want to get into these tomes already. I don't know what's going to be the first book that I read this month. Most likely, oh my fucking god. I fucking twisted the spine here. All right, but I believe it's going to be this one, though, because this is the shortest one of the lot, I believe. And it's the one that it's intriguing me the most. So, yeah, the Books of Jacob, first up this month. And, all right, you see here behind me a lot of books. I'm going to do a book unhaul. I don't know how you say that. And that's going to be my next video, because I'm cleaning up my bookshelves, and I've been looking at them, and I really don't feel that strongly about some books or graphic novels that I have anymore. So yeah, we're gonna be selling those, but more on that on the next video. For now, that will be it, guys. I do want to thank you for tuning in, and yeah, have a good one.